In the last class, I explained regarding self-awareness and self-esteem. Now I'm going to explain you regarding the role and role clarity. What you mean by role? A role is a set of actions and activities assigned to or expected from people. It is an expected or free or continuously changing behavior and may have given individual social status, social position. Status means is nothing but what you are to the society. Like you may be a prime minister, you may be a like you can think are a chief minister, or you're an accountant, right? Social position is nothing but what you are in a family, whether you're a father, mother, like that, right? So that is called as a role. So life roles, so the roles you play in life, like example, like you may play a role of a husband, wife, father, mother, manager, colleague, team member, right, leader, friend. So this is called as life role. So it is an activity for which we devote large amount of time and energy. So areas of life that are important to you, for example, like artistic expressions, positive attitude, career, education, family, friends, financial freedom, physical challenge, or public services. So these are called as life roles. So these are some of the life roles what you play in your life. It may be like husband, father, mother, manager, colleague, team, sports player, etc. Then what are the competences of effective life role? These are some of the competences which we have for an effective life role. The first one is learner, being self, friend, citizen, family member, employee, leisure, social role, ascribed role, etc. So what do you mean by a learner? So reading, writing, computing, perceiving, imagining. So these are some of the examples of as a learner. And being yourself, like you with where you have your own unique identity, or you can say the self identity, right? So self analyzing, sensing, goal building. So these are some of being yourself. Then friend, like so friend, like you should have characters like loving, empathizing, listening, collaborating, sharing, helping, giving, right? Citizen is nothing but caring, participating, decision making, acting, being sensitive to concise, discussing. So these are family members is nothing but like maintaining health, planning, managing, helping. So these are some of the characteristics where we play. So as an employee, you will be career planning, is a technical skills, accepting supervision and all. So leisure means is knowing the resources, appreciating the arts, humanities, performing, playing. So these are some of the things that comes under the leisure. And the social role, and in the social role, like uh, a set of connected patterns of behavior, rights and obligations as conceptualized by actor in the social. So it is an expected behavior in a given individual social status, social positions, right? So it is vital to both functionalistic and interactionist understanding of the society. And ascribed role is nothing but assigned to a person or not under personal control. So it usually refers to the position that an individual is born with. Achieved role is nothing but attained voluntarily by special effort, right? Like based on your education or based on your effort, what are the position you have, that is called as your the achieved role. And the next thing is organizational role. So organization role can be defined as it is nothing but a set of behavior enacted by a person as a result of his occupying a certain position in the organization. It may be based on the position what you occupy. Like if you occupy a manager, you are going to play that role. If you are occupying a CEO, that role. So that is called as organizational role. So organization roles are a method of providing service and entitlements and to individual within the system. And role can be useful in planning organizational effectiveness, and role is the convergence region between the individual and the organization. And what are the importance of this organizational role? Let us see. Some of the importance are like role is the vital for integration of an individual with the organization, and organization has its own structure and goals. And role is a central concept in work motivation, and a role is set in a pattern of interrelationship between one role. Then what is the relationship between you can say the management and the organizational role? So the inspiration, influence and developing others, it acts as a change catalyst, conflict management, teamwork and collaboration. And the next one is what is the importance, as I explained you. And the next topic is how you can make the organization role effective. So effectiveness in organization role is the key to success of any organization, right? Employees can be motivated to high performance if their role were designed in a suitable way that matches their personalities. And role effectiveness depends on having high role efficacy on the part of the role occupant, and by developing a style and strategy to cope up with the role conflict or the stress. And next is about the role clarity. So you know what you mean by role clarity, even the name itself says. So where do you know about what are the tasks and the responsibilities and the process you need to follow at work, right? So role clarity is nothing but the degree to which employees have a clear understanding of the task, responsibilities and the process at work. So this clarity is not limited to their own role, it also includes their colleagues' role. Clarity is an essential precautions, or you can say the precursors of productivity, and the lack of thereof can cause stress and confusion. If you don't have role clarity, you don't be knowing what to do and what is your responsibility, what task you need to do, and also so defining each person's role, their responsibility and success criteria within the team can have an instant positive impact. It ensures that everyone knows what they are doing. It sounds simple, but when roles are clear, people know what's expected of them, how to behave, and what they need to accomplish also. So always a person should have the role clarity. When an employee has a role clarity, they understand specifically what is expected of them in their job. They know what task they are supposed to accomplish and what the specific goals are, and how their work impacts their goals and in the business, and how their work will be evaluated and measured. And the role clarification process within internal organization partnership proved to be relatively well structured, characterized by three phases actually, that is relationship conceptualization and or early contact, familiarization, and finally role division. So these are the three phases that comes under role clarification. So then what are the benefits of role clarity? Actually when we have a role clarity, it increases the organizational efficiency. How it increases means we will be accountable for each and everything, and ownership at individual level and team level. And clarity in the job role enhances the employee and team performance, and although it helps in measuring the performance of the employees, and also it improves the job satisfaction and productive work culture. If the role is not clear, there will be ambiguity what role they need to do. And when roles are unclear, paid employees waste their time wondering what to work and what direction to go on in once they choose a task. And staff may start pointing fingers to deflect the blame. And before a ball gets dropped, unclear roles often result in conflict over who needs to take on the work, right? That we will be blaming the others. And next one is role boundary. So as you all know, the role boundary is a clear definition of the duties, rights and the limitations of the facilitators, volunteers and the program participants. So role boundaries are crucial for the development of positive and effective relationship between the facilitators, volunteers and even the participants. And it is going to reduce the potential for harmful relationship, and it is going to help to ensure the mental and physical health of those who are involved in that role. And what is the importance of this role boundary? So boundaries help usually to establish a good connection among the employees, allowing them to focus on their roles and respect those who are in the higher and the lower grade. And the boundary of respect will enable people to speak up, and it also helps to share their ideas and to suggest creative solutions to the problem without fear of ridicule or embarrassment. So, and even the boundaries also help the employees set realistic goals and expectations, which tells the company like what to expect from them and what they can expect from the company before discussion, coaching and monitoring. All help the workers to set and actually to achieve the goals. Like example is like not discussing a client private health information with others, keeping work contact, like usually the doctors and the lawyers, they won't discuss the others won't discuss their private information. Usually the lawyers and the doctors, you can say, they will be having the boundaries not to discuss the their clients information to others. So this is some of the examples. And how to set the healthy boundary at work, it's like you need to identify your priorities and learn to say no, because sometimes it's necessary. Take time off and look for examples of professional boundaries, and communicate whatever you want to communicate clearly. Establish boundary with co-workers, right? You should not be so much of engaged with the co-workers, and silence notification and create build-in break. So these are some of the things you need to follow with respect to the healthy boundaries, the scope, where you stand and what is your role in this. So actually the healthy boundaries are really necessary for components for self. There are many boundaries like physical boundaries, emotional boundaries, time boundaries, intellectual boundaries, and material boundaries, which are very very important to have to maintain a safe relationship among the employees. So what do you mean by ethical boundaries? So it refers to ethical guidelines that out to govern caregiving relationship, making them distinct from personal, intimate, or business relationship. The ethics literature makes a distinction between boundary violations and boundary crossings. Social boundaries are objectified forms of social differences manifested in unequal access to and unequal distribution of resources actually, and social opportunities. So this is regarding the social role clarity, sorry, and the role boundary. And the next topic is regarding the ego state. So before getting into that, so ego state is defined as a view that a person has of himself, and actually ego state is a concept that comes from transactional analysis, which is a psychological theory and therapy approach developed by Mr. Sigmund Freud. Is also called as father of psychoanalysis. And ego state refers to different sets of thoughts, feelings, and behavior that a person experiences within themselves. These ego states are thought to arise from past experience and interactions, and can also influence a person's behavior and interaction with others. So in transactional analysis there are actually three ego states. One is parent ego, adult ego, and you can say the child ego state. So, in the Freud proposed that the concepts of ID, ego, and super ego, fundamental concepts of Sigmund Freud psychoanalytic theory. These three elements constitute the structural model of the mind and influence a person's thoughts, feelings, and behavior. So he proposed that these components work together and sometimes conflict, shaping human behavior and personality. And the first one is ID state. So the ID is the primitive instinctual part of the mind that operates on the pleasure principle. It seeks immediate gratification of basic desire and needs such as hunger, thirst, and etc. The idea operates on unconscious impulses and is not concerned with morality, reality, and social norms. It is often described as the devil on the shoulder. And the next state is ego state. Actually, the ego is the rational, reality oriented part of the mind. It develops as a response to the demands of the external worlds. The ego operates on the reality principle, which seeks to find realistic and socially acceptable ways to satisfy the ID's desires. It mediates between the demands of the ID and the constraints of the external world. The ego considers consequences, weighs options, and tries to find a balance between the desires and of the ID and the exceptions of the super ego. And the last one is your super ego. The super ego actually represents the internalized moral and ethical standards of society, including the person's parents and the other authority figures. It operates on the morality principle and strives for perfection. And the superego actually usually consists of two components. One is concise. The concise represents the internalization of behavior that are considered morally wrong or unacceptable. It generates feelings of guilt or shame when the person violates their moral standards. And the second one is ego deal. The ego ideal represents the internalization of behavior and qualities that are considered morally right and desirable. It produces feelings of pride and satisfaction when the person behaves in a way that align with their ideal itself. So these three components interact and influences each other to shape an individual thoughts, behaviors, and personality. And superego could lead to various psychological issues that, and his therapeutic approach aim to bring these conflicts into conscious awareness and resolve them. So some of the examples, one example I could give you for this: eating a delicious cake. So imagine that you are in a diet, but you come across a mouth-watering piece of cake. So ID state will be like your ID might urge you to devour the cake immediately, driven by the pleasure principle. It's a part of you that wants instant gratification and does not care about the consequences of breaking your diet. Like in this ego state, your ego could weigh the options. It might consider how much you want the cake versus the potential guilt and regret that might follow. It might find a compromise like have a smaller piece and then adjusting your meal for the rest of the day. On the superego, your superego would chime in with the thoughts about your diet goals and the long term effects of unhealthy eating. It may make you feel guilty for considering indulging in the cake. So these are some of the examples of your the ego states, ID state, ego state, and superego states. Thank you.